Hello and welcome everybody. We have the Global Lab patch notes for May 29th, 2026. So let's get right into it. So first off, we have some class modifications and changes. Sorcerer, apparently there was an issue with please try again later message being displayed and the character movements being abnormal when moving behind an opponent with the right-click nightmare skill. Accordingly, when the character is in the air during the skill's attack animation, they land on the ground faster than before, and if they are above a specified height, a falling animation is displayed. In the case of Wizard, they fixed an issue where some animations would repeat unnaturally when the character moved via right-click, and on Hashashin, they fixed an issue with the effect of the All's Trap skill did not change even after acquiring it when left-clicked while using the Enlightenment. Content-wise, we have a change in the growth time for cultivating crops. This is a farming change. So overall, they're being significantly increased, so you only can check them once a day. So for example, here we have the onions. When the weather is unsuitable, it goes from 6 hours 56 to 22 hours. If it is, sorry, very unsuitable. If it's just unsuitable, it goes from 5 hours 20 minutes to 21 hours. And if it is suitable, it goes to a 20-hour timer. So there is going to be a maximum of 22 hours. Overall, this means once a day, usually around shortly the same time if you want to. Due to the changes in the growth times and cultivated crops, the quantity of obtainable items during harvesting will be increased, so pretty much by 5 times. Pretty much all crops are applicable to this, nothing too crazy there. Items obtained based on specific probability are increased by double and otherwise by 2.5. For example, here are mysterious seeds during harvesting or breeding improvements. Pink leaves or blush leaves obtained during breeding will also go acquisition probability times 2 and the amount increased by 2.5. Crops obtained when harvesting mysterious seeds, truffles obtained from the truffle mycelium, strange and beautiful rice obtained from strange and beautiful rice seeds also have a 3 times increase. Here we can see the mysterious seeds pretty much being mentioned, and the truffle mycelium and the strange rice. I am also sorry about the voice, but I'm going to try to keep going. The fertilizer item that had an effect of reducing crop growth time has been removed. So overall, the mineral fertilizer byproduct and organic fertilizer will be removed. As fertilizer items have been removed, the description regarding the exchange of mineral fertilizer has also been removed from the blush leaves. Also, as crop times have changed, the following changes have also been applied to the moles that appear. So the probability of moles appearing during cultivation will be doubled. The probability of obtaining the following items along with prey coveted moles has increased. So there we have the the artifacts being increased, the imperfect grass radiance stone, and the fertile cloud of rich in oil, and the blush leaves. The amount of blush leaves obtainable when defeating slowpoke, chubby, or giant moles has also been increased by 5 times. When a mole appears, the appearance probability of the mole, sloth mole, chubby, and giant have also been changed to be unified. With these changes, the probability of the giant mole appearing has been increased by 2.5 times compared to the previous ones, and the probability of shushu appearing has been set at a similar level to the previous. The conditions for the fence to be removed when cultivation activities are not performed for a certain period will also be changed. It used to be 14 days, this will now be set to 28. Also, improvements have been made so that seeds stored in the Klaus's seed pouch, can be planted directly into fences. So additionally, seed items obtained through breeding will also land in the pouch directly, and seed items obtained through other routes, for example, Central Market, are still stored in your inventory. Icons have also been added to the cultivation UI or planting UI to distinguish between the ones stored in the pouch and in your inventory. The seed pouch description has been changed as the effect has been modified, and also due to these changes, the conditions and details for the quest below have also been changed. So pretty much a lot of Olvia Academy seeds, premium garlic seeds, and such as the quest reward. Then we have some of the fertilizer quests being pretty much removed or changed. For example, here organized fertilizer to purified water, making purified water instead of fertilizer. There is a bunch of these quests out in the world. Inorganic byproduct fertilizers and organic will be removed from the rewards also from the cultivation quests or farming quests and the masterpiece of a lifetime. Moving on, we have the mitigation of contribution for residential purchases and partial base investment. So the contribution required to purchase housing has been eased. So here we can see a lot of these buildings going from 2 to 1 or from 3 to 2. You should be getting a lot of CP back, especially around Ilia Island. Avilia, also very popular. Tuscany Farm, it pretty much covers Avilia. I think a lot of people are going to see a lot of CP coming back. Ovia, not very popular of a place, but some people still like it. Also getting cheaper. Then we have Heidel being made a lot cheaper across the board. I know a few people have housing there. That will also release some of that CP for you again. Moving on, we have some in the. I think this is Land of the Morning Light below Seoul. At least I believe that's the Gongbang district. Then we have the noble houses being mentioned there as well. The slums, Sangdang Street, pretty much all places in Land of the Morning Light. Actually, no. This might actually be Calpheon. Because Land of the Morning Light should be 1 CP, so I am sorry. Yeah, Durno Farm, Lynch Farm. Yeah, this actually looks a lot more like Calpheon. Slums being mentioned, yeah, this is Calpheon. Then we have Market Street, yeah, definitely Calpheon being cleared up. Etheria being mentioned. Etheria also very popular for the ship material creations. Chapels are being mentioned. Not too sure where that chapel is in this case. Yeah, then we have the Calcon Eastgate, Gambino Farm, Ganini Farm, Florin, Kepler, Trent. Trent is also somewhat popular. Tariff being reduced. Alta Nova also across the board. So we are seeing a reduction in general. Valencia, all the old cities are getting their CP reductions. This is going to be a lot of CP opening up for a lot of node gains. But talking about node gains, there's something coming up. Grana also being reduced a bit further from 3 to 2, pretty much 1 to 2 across the board. Duvenkroon also seems to be losing some more CP. And down here we have Odraxia as well and Moikun if you have buildings there. But like I said, talking about the nodes and CP being released, there's also going to be a lot more production nodes. So we have, for example, a lot of them changing. Wolfhill used to be logging and ash logs. Now it's going to be ash logs and ash sap, or ash logs and, well, 2 for those. Termium Beach used to be just copper ore. Now it's copper ore and transparent crystal ore. The Old Man's Legs, I'm not too sure what node that is going to get birch logs and birch sap. Then we have in the Mast Owl Forest, iron ore and dark dust, iron ore and mud crystals being added. Near Duvenkroon, we have the Gervish Mountains, Garmoth Nest, and the Wolf Village being added. So the fern is changing to 2-year logs and 2-year sap. This is going to be a lot closer than the current 2-year one, which is all the way up near the lumber camp. Garmoth's Nest is getting black crystal ore and traces of nature pretty much twice. We have the cedar logs being added to the wolf village. Grana is getting the mushroom cultivation from Weenie's and Looney's Lodge being changed to, well, the mushrooms and also traces of nature and I think this is Belladonna. Then we have the Miramok Historic Site getting mud crystals and traces of nature. Volterra Mountains getting green ore and dust of time or earth dust. Odraxia, Narcion's getting chicken production and, well, twice. We have also Thornwood logs and Thornwood sap being added. Bahit Sanctuary getting the nickel ore and dark dust again. Bamboo Valley in Valencia. That is kind of odd. Used to be Frecky, I think it's called. Then we now have Frecky and Vanadium ore and the fissure powder and blue crystal ore. The Pilgrim Sanctuaries are getting extraction, which is going to be gold ore and traces of nature. As far as I know, this is one of the very few places you can get gold ore this way. Pilaku Jail is getting iron ore. Then we have the rock mountains down there, getting titanium ore, flame powder, and the purple crystals. Near Alta Nova, we have a few changes. So the Elderwood is going for Elderwood and Acacia, pretty much two different nodes. The Bashim tribe is going for iron ore and titanium again. Pilaf going for blue crystals and purple crystals being added. Kislev rocky area going for vanadium ore, and then the ruined city of Rune has the cypress log. I think this is the white cedar logs, so white cedar sap, and the blood red wood knot. So overall, we're getting a lot of different production nodes being added, but we are getting a lot of CP released as well. The class of the transition rotation for the tag rotation is going to be Tamer and Nova next. That will be coming up. And with that, we have the other big thing. Duoksini Calamity 8, 9, 10 is being released. Nothing too crazy here. We have the usual AP requirements 365, 375, 385 of the latest releases. The drops pretty much fairly standard. We are seeing that the guaranteed loot doesn't have the hunger. It is still in the probability though. There is the lightning trace on grade 1 loot in all three. Overall, this is looking pretty standard, nothing too crazy. But if you like Duoksini, you finally get the chance to. But with that, we also have the second part of this. The Calamity 1 to 7 bosses will get a little bit easier for everybody due to the 6th Light Orb being released. So the 6th Light Orb will allow you to get an correction of 50 attack and 100 defense. So pretty much giving you a lot more attack and tankiness for the fight. This is designed for the people that cannot do the Calamity 8, 9, 10s to have an easier time with Calamity 1 to 7. Then we have some small changes for the Apostles in Star's End. They've been changed to make them more intuitively distinguishable from the powerful monsters, so now they will have the Lost in Power tag at the back. Also, when defeating these monsters, pretty much all of them below, you will no longer obtain the existing loot, but it obtains silver coins. The monster HP has also been changed to 50% of the original amount, so this is pretty much, I believe, the non-grind zone spot. This is only for the quest, and they will now give just silver. When defeating world bosses Quint and Maraka, the probability of the iridescent lightstone will also be increased. So 1st to 20th is a 10 times increase, 21st to 50th, 8.3, and then finally, if you're 51st to 90% on the damage, you get 6.6. Quint's maximum health has also been reduced by 20%. When fighting the Adania boss Jordine or transforming into a black spirit by receiving the power of the Azure Sky in Ethereal Hunting Grounds, the damage of stationary attacks has been changed to be the same as of attacks while moving. UI-wise, the guild funds have been improved, so they are also updated with the guild member status update function. So you can now finally update your funds to actually get them triggered. And with that, we're already in the fixes and changes. So in Mystic, there was an issue with the Rosalind armor looking weird. They fixed an issue where the Colossus Heart would intermittently appear in an abnormal location in the Dekia 2 Oland fight. Accordingly, the locations of some terrain features in the Oland Valley have been changed. They fixed some issues where the effect of the Golden Pig statue was not displayed. This was already fixed before, I guess it wasn't properly fixed. They fixed an issue where the status effects were not applied when hitting the Golden Pig King, with the status effects go after consecutive jumps during the battle with him. There was also an issue with the world boss Maraka jump attack animation looking awkward. This has been fixed. Then one for animations on Quint. They fixed an issue where 9 sharks were not appearing at specific locations during the New Moon 9 shark quest. They fixed an issue where the unselected items could be purchased by pressing the buy button on the NPC shop buy tab after selling an item from the bag. The typo in the knowledge entry for the Land on Morning Light Nampo Moodle Village has been corrected. They fixed an issue in the AOS window where opponents would move to the starting point along with the player if a grab was successfully executed just before the round ended and the player returned to the starting point. They fixed an issue where the participant entry waiting time was displayed on the spectator status screen upon reconnecting after a round starting in AOS window. Fixed an issue where AFK penalty conditions were reset when reconnecting after disconnecting during a Solar's ranked match. Fixed an issue where certain areas of War of the Roses UI would become clickable when the mouse pointer was hovered over them. System message displays when attempting to summon your own maid during a base or, well, node war. Before change, they cannot be used where the node or conquest battles are in progress. After the change, your maid will not be summoned during these battles. They fixed an issue where the enhanced flame towers and great watches would intermittently fail to appear in base battles or node wars, even after the flame towers or watches have been fully upgraded. The instruction text regarding the success conditions for the butchering minigame has been corrected to be, well, correct. They fixed an issue with trolls and ogres summoned by the Dark Pact when not functioning properly. They fixed some issues where the resources required to use a skill were displayed as incorrect when viewing the other classes in the skills window. Fix some issues where retrieving an item from the central market while using the Find My Item UI was open would deduct the made usage count and prevented the item from being used. And then we have a bunch of pad mode fixes. One of them where the controls could not be used with the D-pad during the Hoe Gathering minigame. Then they fixed an issue where the applications for the Leader Guild and Third Corps were not functioning correctly in the War of the Roses UI. A key guide has also been added there. They fixed some issues where there was no response when clicking the Leader Guild participation button. Fixed some issues where the message box that appeared when exchanging engraved items with an NPC would not close. And they fixed an issue where a message indicating no residency owned was displayed in the My Residence list UI, even though a residence existed. With that, we're in the TLDR already. Quint, Star's End. Good to make it easier to do the quest. The sixth orb coming in is really nice. Just a nice little bonus. Duoksini, I did like Duoksini. I'm looking forward to it. Kind of curious what they're going to be doing with the mechanics. The amount of nodes being added, I think they want us to buy more workers. It could be worthwhile. There's going to be a lot of stuff, but there's also going to be a lot more stuff on the market, so prices will go down. Otherwise, the CP getting released overall is really great. A lot of CP is getting released here. This is going to be an absolutely massive return of contribution points. And then finally, the farming quests. Yeah, they need to be changed. The seed pouch finally working. I'm a little bit torn. I've kind of gotten used to it not working, but this will be a nice change. And otherwise, the 22 hours max time, I can't really fault it. It doesn't really feel like a big problem. It just means you can check it when you get on, and then check it the next day when you get on. No more checking before bedtime. Just one time check every day. It does make it a little bit easier, but I do feel like it also makes it a much higher chance to forget. But we're going to see how that goes. And with that, I wish you the absolute best of luck, and please don't get sick like I did.